and videographer. So I work with arts organisations, I film weddings, I've done films for taxi companies, football clubs, whatever the project demands, really. So the first time I made a film or picked up my camera was actually when I was going on holiday, and I just wanted to capture the memories. I was with my sister, we were making fun little videos, and when I sat down to edit it, I realised I was actually quite enjoying it. And then eventually I found a film commission where I got paid like a little bit of money to make a 1-minute film for a dance festival. And then that film got shown at different festivals and people really enjoyed it. So I thought, maybe I could give this a go, and slowly I started applying for more things. It just sort of spiralled from there, just from going on holiday. So I originally wanted to be a performer and an actor working in theatre. So I studied drama at uni, and once I graduated, I just needed to get a job. So I worked in a cafe, and then I worked as a receptionist. I realised quite quickly that being on stage isn't for everyone. I actually wasn't that good at acting. So I started doing all the other jobs you could think of. I got into project coordination, I did a bit of marketing, made some films for social media for projects. And through getting all that experience, I met loads of artists, loads of dancers, loads of theatre makers. So I think definitely, even when I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I was just working on the front of a reception in an arts organisation, that was actually building my career before I even realised my career had started. I think that was a journey that I didn't anticipate my career going. When I started making films and doing photography, I very quickly realised that I enjoyed doing work in community settings the most, taking highlight reels and images, documenting community projects. So I think for me, I've naturally ended up doing more of that kind of work. I enjoy editing it because I love watching those moments unfold. And I think because I enjoy doing that the most, that's the work that I make the best. And because I'm self-employed, I can say yes to the work that I like. So I've sort of created my own niche. So there's kind of two sides to my work as a photographer and videographer. There's the creativity, there's knowing that when I go into a room, what are the moments that I want to capture, how am I going to edit it together, what music am I going to use, and that's the really fun bit that I get to do in my own time after I've left the space. But then equally, there's all the technical skills that I need. I need to know how to use my camera. I need to know how to back up all of my footage, and there's a lot of it takes a lot of memory space. I've got to know hard drives really well. I use stabilizers, I use gimbals, I use tripods, I use microphones. So I've had to sit down and spend days learning things like color grading, learning things like sound design and how to edit interviews. And I've really had to balance taking the time out to learn those skills and still enjoying the creative side of it and being able to sit in the bits that I enjoy and creating the stories that I want to tell. I think one thing that people don't expect from my job is that I spend a lot of time in cafes. I am an awful procrastinator, and if I'm at home and I'm trying to sit down at my laptop and get editing done, but I know there's something more interesting I can do next door, or I can go get a cup of tea in the kitchen, I get nothing done. Another thing that people don't necessarily think about with being particularly a self-employed photographer and videographer is how much travel is involved. I rely on public transport a lot, so I do a lot of taking trains and taxis, and I have to really factor that in as well to my work. And do I make sure I'm having breaks and having time off as well? There are loads of different ways to be a photographer or a videographer or a filmmaker. So you might be self-employed, you might make music videos, you might make social media content, you might go into marketing, you might work for a media company where you're not necessarily self-employed but you get work through them. You might want to work on film sets or TV sets, and even within that, each of the roles are really diverse and really split up into individual things. So you might be a lighting person, a sound person, a camera operator. You might want to go into editing, and even within editing, you could be a sound editor, a colour editor, a visual editor. There's loads of different things that you could do. So I would always say, don't limit your skills, don't limit your options. Say yes to new experiences. You never know if the thing that you're going to enjoy is something you just haven't quite tried yet. I think the thing that I enjoy the most about my job, particularly about being self-employed, is that I get to choose what I do, and it's different every day. I never get bored because one day I'll be working with a football club, making social media content for them. The next day I'm filming a dance show. The next day I'm interviewing some semi-famous person for a project. Another thing that I love about this job is when I'm editing, because of the sort of films that I make, because I capture candid, authentic moments, I love to be able to edit them and reflect them back to the people. It's so emotional. I often cry when I'm editing wedding videos. I'm a massive softie, so I really find that a massively rewarding part of my job. As a self-employed freelancer, as a photographer and videographer, I basically run my own business. So I have to be in charge of all my own accounting, marketing, I do all of my own invoicing. So it's really important for me to be able to have a massively varied skill set, and all the jobs I did before I became a videographer and photographer, working on a reception desk, doing admin for arts organisations and different projects, have given me all of those skills. The other part of being self-employed is that I'm actually not just a photographer and a videographer. I do lots of other stuff as well. And I think all of that work really complements each other, and it means that I never run out of things to do and my skill set just keeps growing, and I really love that. So one massive change is that everyone wants social media content now. So I have to be very conscious that when I'm doing films, I'm probably going to have to edit it into a portrait, real-shaped size, as well as maybe a landscape one, maybe also the square Instagram size. So being aware of things like that has made my job maybe a little bit more complex, but it means I have to just be more versatile and make sure that the client can get what they want. Also, AI is changing the game. Don't know if you've heard of it. It means that people can work faster, but it also is kind of stealing my job. So I have to make sure I know exactly what AI can do. So I can use it to make my job easier, but also I make sure that I'm still better than AI and people are still going to pay me to do the work, because watch out, they're coming. I'd just say get in the room. It doesn't matter if you're not getting in the room with a camera straight away. If you get a job in admin, in customer service, if you're in a theatre or if you're in an arts organisation, you're going to start making your networks and you're meeting people. And I think that's just as important as getting in the room as the thing that you want to be. I think also, if you want to be a photographer or a filmmaker, it's like one of the easiest things to get started on, because you just need something with a camera, and most of us have smartphones. So I'd say just start making films, start taking photos, get better at the technical elements of that before you even start doing paid work. If you can get a camera, ask for Christmas, ask for your birthday, get a second-hand one. There's loads of great websites to get second-hand kit that's refurbished, so you know it's going to be good. Then get one as soon as you can and just start making stuff. Look for funding opportunities, look for film commissions. Even if you don't think you're going to get it, you might as well apply if you've got the time to do the application. It's always worth doing it, and the worst that's going to happen is they say no.